government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish.
Of the people, by the people, for the people.
And that government of the people, by the people, and for the people, shall not perish from the earth.
Good evening, everyone. Chris McDonald, Mac Files, broadcast number 23. Wow, I can't believe we've had that many already, but this is Monday night, October the 10th, 2016, just 28 days away from the 2016 presidential election between Donald J. Trump and Hillary Rodham Clinton, and we're just so tickled that you're with us on this Monday night. Been a very turbulent weekend in politics, turbulent weekend in the country, turbulent weekend in the world. And a lot to get to tonight, a lot to talk about. We're not going to be able to cover it all in 30 minutes, but we're sure going to try. And we're just glad that you dropped in to listen to some thoughts we've got about it. And these MacFile broadcasts is just our way of laying it on the table. We say a few things sometimes that I know not everybody's going to agree with, but that's what makes opinion broadcasts like this opinions. We have ours. I know you have yours, and we can all get along, hopefully, out there. In this land that we live in. This is the land of the free, home of the brave, and the greatest country on the face of this earth. And our desire tonight is what you see on our screen there, and that is to have a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. So help us God, and this country remain free of tyranny. And sadly tonight, as I'm sitting here in front of you on this Monday night, I'm afraid that we're teetering on the brink of something that this nation has never seen, none of us in our generation has seen. If this machine that I witnessed over this weekend that is so corrupt and evil gets its way in this country, folks, we're doomed in this nation. We just are. And yeah, I'm a Trump supporter. Don't hide it. Don't care to hide it. But I'm saying that in the broader scheme of things, even if Donald Trump wasn't running and it was somebody else in this race, I'd say the same thing. Donald Trump is not the issue, even though people are trying to make him the issue tonight. This is about our nation. And watching this debate last night, again, Donald Trump fought off the moderators. He fought off Hillary. Basically walked out on that stage already with a very huge dark cloud covering him. And with this video released Friday that was just a scam and just basically a setup to do. And look, you can't deny the video was real. Donald Trump has apologized for what was on it. It was a very vulgar rant. On the set of a soap opera back in 2005, which was 11 years ago. And, you know, that this comes on the heels of things that they tried to pull out that he said 20 years ago. And what is amazing to me has been the reaction to the video and the Republicans and how they have acted. Paul Ryan today came out, the Speaker of the House, and said that he will not be campaigning for Donald Trump. He will not be supporting him, even though he will not unendorse him, which I don't really know what that means. But that's a politician for you, and that's just the elitist Republican snubbery that has been going on. Let me make something very clear to you folks tonight, and let me make it clear to the Republican Party. We're very aware that Donald Trump was not the party's choice. We're very aware that the Republican Party pitched a fit. They snorted, they sneezed, they cussed, they crapped in their britches, they peed on the floor, they rolled around like dogs, they screamed, they threw the sink at Trump, and we're going to talk about a story tonight that's developing where Bill O'Reilly said there's been 3 news media outlets tonight that basically told their reporters that anybody that supported Trump would be fired. And there's another story tonight out that Roger Ailes, the former president of Fox News, the one that just got ousted because of sexual misconduct allegations, was told by Rupert Murdoch, the owner of the station, to make the debaters in that very, very first debate, the one that really set the tone for the tenor against Donald Trump, to basically take Trump down and to be hard as hell on him and nobody else. And they did that. They followed their boss's orders, but it did not work. Because, folks, Donald Trump is not the Republican Party's choice. He is the people's choice. He has been the people's choice from the beginning, including this one right here. Because I see in Donald Trump something that I've not seen in any man, any person running for office in a long time, and that's number one, he is not afraid of the media. He's not afraid of the establishment. He's not afraid of getting knocked down to get back up. He's not afraid of Hillary Clinton. It showed last night. Very strong debate performance. He did not let her push him around, and anything that she gave to him, he gave back to her 10 times over, and basically won that debate on style, on substance, even though the left-wing media today is just crucifying him for some of the things that he did. And I think the line of the night was when he turned to her and she made some smart-ass remark about, I don't know what the country will do if you're elected president. And Donald Trump looked at her and said, of course you don't know what will do, Hillary, but one thing's for sure, if I'm president, you'll be in jail. And I loved it. I mean, absolutely. Best line of the night. And the other line, of the night was her trying to compare herself to Abe Lincoln using a freaking movie. She wasn't talking about the man Abe Lincoln, but she was talking about the movie Abe Lincoln that gave her inspiration to, quote unquote, have one policy for the public and have another policy for the private people behind the scenes. In other words, us peons out here, us peasants, what she says to us can be one thing, but what she's really feeling and what she's going to tell her elite buddies behind closed doors is another. And she said that the inspiration for her doing that was the fact that she watched the movie, and of course I've seen the movie, Abe Lincoln, with Daniel Day-Lewis, and she said that gave her the inspiration because Lincoln had to do that because of the Civil War. It's the biggest crock of crap I've ever heard in my life, and the most insidious thing coming from the mouth of a liar I've ever heard in my life. And folks, it is pathetically bad when you have a presidential candidate stooping to that level of stupidity and thinking that we American people out here are going to buy that. And nobody did last night except the far left loons and her supporters that would follow her off a cliff, and if she pulled her panties down and pissed on the American flag, people wouldn't care that support her. And that's the thing that drives me insanely crazy with the Republican Party. The Republican Party could get behind Donald Trump the same way. They could get behind him, stick with him. They don't have to like what he's doing. They don't have to agree with everything he's doing. But you don't jump ship when times get tough in a political race. Laura Ingraham, who I love to listen to, she's probably one of the best pundits on television, best voice out there, conservative voices other than Sean Hannity. Herman Cain's a great one. Stuart Varney, Lou Dobbs. I love Lou Dobbs. Very, very smart men. I like Rush. Rush gets a little, Rush is Rush, but Laura Ingraham seems to have a very common sense approach to elections, and she has a very common sense approach to the country. And I love the way she said it last night. The Democrats are out to win. The Republicans are out to uphold their principles. And they don't care whether they win or lose. And they don't care about winning elections when they'll go off and do something like they've done this weekend about Trump's video and pontificate, or whatever that word she uses. I'm sorry, I'm just from South Georgia, and some of these words I can't pronounce. But pontificate, I'll try that again. I didn't do any better on that time either, did I? But anyway, she said they'll get in their little talking point sessions around the table on television, and they'll act like that they've got the heartbeat of the country, and that they're so smart and they're so intelligent, unlike us out here in the country, that the ones that have put Trump in in this place, and that they know better than we do. And folks, the Democratic Party does it too. The Republicans do it to us, and I don't really give a blank what party it is, whether it's an R or a D. They're all from the same tree, and they're all the same pieces of crap. And today I was looking just briefly at my Twitter account, and I unfollowed Fox News. I don't even listen to Fox News anymore. I'm tired. I may tune in Hannity. He's going on right now. It's 10:20 in the East. I'll catch him tonight on the 1 o'clock feed. But Sean Hannity has emerged as probably one of the few people that is giving Donald a fair shake. And look, Megyn Kelly, the bimbo before him, she's on there last night after this debate, and immediately, it's not 5 seconds into her broadcast, she tears into Trump after everybody watched this debate out here in America tonight, and not one online poll, folks, that I have found today, and I've looked at about 15 of them, not one online poll showed anything but a complete domination by Donald Trump in that debate. The only poll that was conducted by a news agency was a complete joke. CNN conducted a poll last night that showed Hillary winning this debate 57-34. Now, granted, this is the same Clinton News Network that was accused last night of having a focus group after the election and feeding the questions to the focus group and feeding statements to them before they even conducted the thing. And that is all over Twitter today, that's what they did. And in this group of people, I guess it was 600 people they talked to, or not even quite that many. But they basically, I think it was almost 60 to 40. The group was 60% registered Democrat, 40% Republican. And if you look at the poll, that's about what Hillary won the debate for, 57-34, 60 to 40. And I mean, you just shake your head at this like we're supposed to believe it. But what's bad about that is I was listening to a local broadcast this evening. They quoted that CNN poll over the debate last night, and that's the only one they quoted. They never mentioned the online polls showing Donald Trump winning. And even Donald Trump's harshest critics last night admitted that he brought his A game to this debate. He did not let Hillary sneak away from the Benghazi issue. He did not let her weasel out of the emails. He did not let her weasel out of her support of the Iranian nuke deal. He did not let her wiggle out of the Syrian red line. He did not let her wiggle out of her support and full disclosure that she basically, it was Hillary care before it was Obamacare, folks. What Obama's done with his health care system, Hillary was trying to do it in the early 90s. For those of you that don't remember, it got slapped down by Congress, thank God. But we would have had Hillary care in the 1990s had it not been for that Republican House that took over in 94. And you know, to be frank with you, she's going to just put that Obamacare on steroids. And Trump laid into that last night. And one of the focus groups, and, you know, I don't agree with everything Frank Luntz does. I've learned not to listen to any of these guys. But, you know, Frank, in all fairness, he tried to be very fair last night. And he said, you know, one of the greatest moments of Trump's debate performance was when he was outlining the cost to the American people of Obamacare. Those lines went crazy up, both independents and Republicans. The Democrats, of course, they weren't going to like anything Trump had to say last night, and they don't today. But there was a complete beatdown last night of Hillary Clinton. But the night belonged to Donald Trump, and it belonged to him actually before the debate ever got started. And I'm about to change screens here in a minute, and I'm going to put something up to show you why I say that and some things that went on. But it was a complete win for Trump last night. There was not too many moments, I think, that he failed on. You know, these pundits are arguing whether he should have said a few things, and Dana Lesh from CNN called him Hitler and Stalin for saying he was going to put Clinton in jail. You know, and it's these same Democrats. It's just amazing these liberals are the same ones that was screaming for George Bush to go to jail over weapons of mass destruction because they felt him and Dick Cheney and Rumsfeld all lied to the country about the weapons of mass destruction, even though Israel, Syria, not Syria, but Jordan, Britain, Canada, and Australia all had the same information and same intelligence, even though it was faulty, and they all agreed that Bush was right. And granted, it did put egg on our face. Granted, we didn't find the weapons of mass destruction. But folks, if you'll think about this for a minute and just back up, Syria has been using chemical weapons on its own people for the last 5 to 6 years, and the question beggars to be asked, where did they get those weapons from? Because according to our intelligence agency, Syria is not supposed to have any chemical weapons. So they got it from somewhere. So you do the math. My opinion is that those weapons probably were shipped to Syria before we went in there, because our stupid government, we like to dictate what we're going to do 10 months ahead of time, let the enemy get prepared for us, and we did the same thing in Iraq. And it would not shock me that if Saddam Hussein, in a concerted effort with his Syrian neighbor, said take these weapons before they get here because they're coming forward. They're coming in here to get them. And folks, think about the Muslim world and the Arab world. They will sit on this stuff for years before they ever use anything. They're not dumb. And they know, you know, if they would just overtly use those right away, the world would have said, oh my God, Iraq had these chemical weapons. And, you know, who knows what was agreed to. And I may be wrong. You know, history will only prove us right or wrong on this. And history may not prove us right or wrong at all. I mean, we may never find out what happened to them. But they were in Iraq. He did have them because he used those weapons on his own people back in the late 80s. He gassed the Kurds with them in his civil war with them in the northern part of the country. And it's been a tremendous question for years why we didn't find those weapons. But I go back to my original point. The left-wing wing of this nation, the left-leaning liberals in Congress, and all these same bastards who are screaming tonight that Donald Trump was unprofessional and telling Hillary he's going to put her in jail. Well, they were wanting to put Bush in jail 10 years ago. And so it's just hypocrisy, folks. It's just complete political doublespeak. They play for the camera. They play for their constituency. They don't give a crap about this nation. And that's one thing that I have to say that I believe Donald Trump does. He does care about the country. And it's a terrible thing to watch what's going on with him in the arena of the media tonight. Let me change screens on you because I want to come over here and I want to start putting up some memes here and show you a few things. And I love this tonight. This is our meme of the day among many that I saw that was really touching to me today. But this one I think says it all. And this individual that's doing this podcast tonight, I agree with this. The man that has put aside his great life to get scrutinized, mocked, and ridiculed and humiliated for us. He's trying to come up against an establishment, folks, of both the Republicans. He's coming up against the Democrats. He's coming up against a unfair and crooked media. He's coming up against an unfair and crooked Justice Department. He's coming up against an unfair and crooked federal government. And on top of that, he's got people out there that are paying millions of dollars. I mean, I'm talking hundreds of millions of dollars, offering it for any dirt that they can get on him from his past. And it's amazing to me that, people will stoop that low to do that. And that's what happened with this video over the weekend, folks. This video was released within hours of that first email dump Friday afternoon with WikiLeaks. And it just blew the attention off the emails. The problem is tonight, WikiLeaks issued some more emails tonight, and they have been very damning to the Clinton campaign, even though the media is saying almost nothing about that. And nothing was brought up about those emails last night, hardly, by Anderson Cooper and the twit from ABC, and I can't even, Martha Radix. And not a word, not a daggum word about anything about the emails, but they just stayed on Trump about his comments on that video 11 years ago. And this one right here is the kicker to me. And folks, this goes back to the hypocrisy of the media, including Fox News. And I've just got this suggestion to Megyn Kelly. Take your sorry blank to CNN. That's where you need to be. It's evident you are not, you act like you're fair and balanced. You hate Trump, and that's fine. If you want to hate him, you hate him. It's a free country. But don't parade yourself around like a fair journalist and do the things that you do. My brother told me last night during the right after the debate, it was so funny, but her and Laura Ingraham were going at it. Laura Ingraham was basically beating her down, and Megyn was trying to talk about how vulgar Trump was on this tape, and Laura wouldn't have nothing of it. And Todd said, my brother, he said that the camera came back on her right after commercial break, and she was literally scowling in her face, almost knowing Trump had won this debate last night, but they showed the scowl, and all of a sudden she realized the camera was on her, she started smiling again. So she's got a bias, folks. She don't like Trump, she didn't like him. She's getting her talking points or orders from up top to be as rough on Trump as she can, and she's listening to the heads. Because, I'm going to be honest with you, she's been nothing but unfair from the beginning. And for her to look in that camera and even remotely say she's been the same way to Hillary Clinton is totally false. It's totally false. And it's just ridiculous. But the thing that I saw tonight, I saw a little clip on Fox, and that's when I defriended them, or whatever you do on Twitter, you unfollow people. But she had some guy on there, and the headline was, the guy was telling Megyn, I have had conversations in locker rooms before, but I've never heard anything like I heard on that video, which is complete BS. And Megyn Kelly was, saying, I thought, that's right. I know I've never heard it either. I've never talked like that. I've never heard anything like that. Well, today, it came out that somebody pulled an interview that she did with Howard Stern, I guess about 5 or 6 years ago. This was before she gained the national status she's got tonight. But she went on the Howard Stern show right after her marriage to her current husband. And she forgot about the conversation with Howard Stern, and it's on YouTube, it's on Google, you can Google it. She was basically discussing her hubby's junk, and that's what this meme says here. This was off Twitter today from the Bay Area for Trump people. And she was very, very vulgar in that conversation with Stern. Now, again, I'm not even throwing stones at Megan for being vulgar. If that's how she wants to talk, let her talk. That's her business, folks. But don't be a hypocrite. Don't sit there and act like to the world that you've never, ever, ever, Megan, said anything that you heard on those videos from Donald Trump. Because that's just a crock of crap. And nobody out there can say that. And look, even this religious bunch that's wanting to say, well, that's just not a Christian thing for him to say. Folks, of course it was not a Christian thing for him to say. We're not electing the Pope. We're not electing a Sunday school teacher. We're electing a president. And I wish any of you, if any of you can find out, if you'll find one president that has never said a cuss word in the history of the Republic, please send me an email at chrismack44@gmail.com. Please send me an email and let me know that. Let me know where you find that we've never had a president that has not used vulgar language in the history of our country. Please find somebody in our government that don't use vulgar language. Please let me know of somebody that has never went off on a vulgar rant as president and used the GD word or the MF word or the F word itself or ass or shit, pardon my French, or any other of these other cuss words that was in that thing. And yes, the P word. John McCain called his own wife a cunt. And Robert Dole today came out and he was excoriating McCain, saying, look, you're nothing but a hypocrite too. I mean, you're sitting there, bitching about Trump's video, and you called your own wife a C word here years ago. And Dole was there when it happened. So, folks, it's just hypocrisy. It's just hypocrisy. And the hypocrisy is why the nation is piss poor tired of the media. We're just tired of it all. And, that is just the way it is. And then this last night was, again, the line that just made us all laugh like crazy. And I love the tweet from Donald Trump last night right after the debate. Again, when he was basically looking at Hillary, and he did not let her get off easy. He told her, he said, you waited till they sent you that subpoena, and then you deleted the 33,000 emails that you deleted, and not just deleting them, but you used BleachBit, an acid-based content, to remove all the emails, and as Trey Gowdy said, so that even God couldn't find them. And Hillary then said, well, I did that. She didn't use the April excuse with that, but the question came up about her public persona, what she says in public, what she says in private. And that's when she invoked Abe Lincoln, and basically said that the reason that she did that was she was inspired by the fact that Abe Lincoln did it back during the Civil War, that he would say things to the public, and then in private he would say something else. I'm just curious where in the hell she got that from. That what idiot in her campaign told her to say something stupid like that. Because, folks, I mean, as Donald Trump says here, there's a big difference between Hillary Clinton and Abe Lincoln. For one, his nickname is Honest. And Hillary has never been honest about anything. I mean, seriously, she's not been honest about a thing. And it's just absolutely hilariously funny that she would even attempt to do that. But the other story of last night about this debate, and I want to really talk about this because this got good, folks. This really got good. And again, I have to applaud Trump for doing this. And a lot of people didn't think he should do it. And there's even people today that, are questioning whether it was the right thing to do. In my personal opinion, Hillary Clinton opened up this can of worms and this can of attack on him about his comments 11 years ago. She brought his past into the race. She brought the comment about the girl from Mexico, the beauty queen from 20 years ago. She brought that up. She opened that can up. If you're going to open that can up, Hillary, on Donald's past, then your and Bill's past is fully on the table, including the women sitting at this table right here. Last night, Donald Trump called the press. He told them, he said, we're going to have a press conference before the debate. And they thought they were going to go in there and get to hammer him about the video. That's what they thought. They walk in the room, according to Politico today, and in the room is sitting these ladies who are basically they're four ladies that accused Bill of sexual assault in some way, form, or fashion. And Juanita Broderick, the lady to Trump's left there in the picture, immediately to her left, she actually accused Bill of raping her. Kathleen Willey, the lady at the end on the left, accused Bill of touching her inappropriately and forcing himself on her while she was in Arkansas. And Hillary excoriated these women. I mean, just absolutely excoriated them. and some of the things that she said. I'll get to that comment in just a second. I'll get to that in a minute. I'm trying to find the comment. I'm just going to have to go back to my files. Hang on just a second, folks. I want to pull this up because this is very important, and I want to read this to you. And all of you remember it when she said here when Bill Cosby got arrested here about 6 months ago for rape, from the mid-90s. It was a mid-90s case. I mean, this goes back 15 years of Bill's past, Bill Cosby's. And she sent this tweet out that she says, every survivor of sexual assault deserves to be heard, believed, and supported, okay? Except for Juanita Broderick, alleged rape by Bill Clinton. Eileen Wellstone, alleged rape by Bill Clinton. Elizabeth Ward Grayson, alleged rape by Bill Clinton. Regina Blakely, Bill forced himself on her, biting and bruising her. Kathleen Wiley, sexual assault by Bill Clinton, intimidations and threats by Hillary. Sandra Allen James, sexual assault by Bill Clinton. Catherine Bradshaw, sexual assault by Bill Clinton. Christy Zurcher, unwelcome sexual advances from Bill Clinton. Paula Jones, unwelcome sexual advances, exposure from Bill Clinton. Bordering on sexual assault is what she said in her deposition. And the Paula Jones case is what opened the whole can of worms that ultimately led to Bill being impeached by the House. And then that domino effect just started going down through Monica Lewinsky. Carolyn Moffat, unwelcome sexual advance and exposure, bordering on sexual assault. Monica Lewinsky, sexually pressured by Bill Clinton, post-incident character assassination. If it wouldn't have been for that dress, folks, they would have cut this girl dry. But she hung on to that dress, and that dress is what became the noose around Bill Clinton's neck in 1998. It really was. Jennifer Flowers, sexually pressured by Bill Clinton, and then Dolly Sue Browning, sexually pressured by Bill Clinton. Now, the folks, let me tell you something. All these women have two things in common. Bill Clinton's one, but the woman in that picture right there is the other. They were trashed, and they were their character was assassinated, and Hillary said a plethora of ugly, nasty things about every single one of these women. If it was one woman, you probably would maybe think, well, maybe it's just some money-grubbing lady that's trying to get money out of Bill. If it was two women even, over a course of 10, 20 years, you would think, well, things happen. He may have happened, didn't learn his lesson. But folks, I can't count them 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. That's 15 women in just a matter of 2 decades that have accused Bill Clinton of doing all sorts of horrible things to them sexually, including rape. And Hillary has done nothing but trash them. And all Donald Trump did was get on a video and say something about a woman's body part that was very vulgar, and I'm not trying to defend what he said. Ladies, I'm not. But when you look at his words compared to deeds, words versus deeds, there's no comparison. But the liberal media has no time for this over here on my left. You won't hear them talk about this. Not one time. They're not going to talk about Hillary's thing. And last night during that debate, Donald Trump brought up at the beginning, he very much said that. And this is the reaction to Bill and Chelsea when he did. This is priceless, folks. Look at that look. This is the look that Bill gave when Donald Trump turned into that camera after Hillary tried to tie him to that video, tie him to all of his comments about women, and then Trump turned to the camera and said, my words compared to their deeds, no comparison. And that's the look that Bill Clinton gave. But also, he gave the look to those women in the audience that you saw at that table tonight, his former victims, because they were shocked that Donald Trump would do it. To be honest with you, Donald Trump did the right thing. I don't care how people out there say he didn't do it, and this was lowball politics, folks. They've been lowballing politics him from the beginning. And if Donald Trump don't fight back, he is going to lose. He has got to fight back. You've got to fight fire with the Clintons. And Laura Ingraham said something last night I thought was hilarious. She said, it's about time that the Republicans, somebody in the Republican Party, start beating up on the Clintons in a debate, because nobody's had the guts. Nobody had the guts in 2012. Romney didn't fight Obama. McCain didn't fight Obama in 2008. If they had just fought, we wouldn't have the mess we've got for the last 8 years. But they laid down and they didn't fight. Trump's a fighter. And he's taking on the world right now, folks, and I salute him and I respect him. But one thing I want to mention about this, and I'm going to have to call it a night because I've gotten long-winded and I didn't get to these other emails. We're going to talk about the emails more tomorrow, but I did want to talk about this debate and I'm going to wrap it up. But during this press conference before the debate last night, one of the questions that one of the smart-ass reporters asked Trump was basically, well, did you, what would you say to people that said you touched somebody without permission? What do you say to people that says that's not how a president should act? Paula Jones, the girl on the right, spoke up. Trump didn't even answer. She spoke up, and she says, why don't you ask that to Bill Clinton? And folks, the room went quiet. And I'm going to try to find that clip and play it tomorrow if I can on the next edition of the Mac Files. But we've gone a little bit lengthy tonight. I need to call this quits, but I just want to tell you what I feel about the debate real quick. And then we're gonna call it a night, folks. Let me tell you something. Let me come back over to my screen here. Let me get us back to screen
The
one.
government of the
And I
people,
always keep forgetting
by
to
the people,
turn my intro off when I do that. Let me tell you something, folks, and let me just be brutally honest about this whole process, about what I saw last night on that stage. When Donald Trump was prosecuting Hillary Clinton about the law, and he was prosecuting her about her role in this illegal email scam, it was very telling. Two things that she said that really got under my skin more than anything else. And she said a lot that did, but these two things stuck out, and I'm going to call it a night. She basically she never did admit to the audience out there that she broke the law with those emails. She's never admitted that. And she had no answer for Trump. She was at a loss. She was absolutely at a loss answering that question about the emails. Had no answer for it. The other thing that bothered me came up when they asked her the question about the Supreme Court. And she said that basically if she's elected, she's going to put justices on the Supreme Court that will rule from the bench in a way that will recognize the world that we live in right now. Not one time in that discourse about justices did she mention they would rule according to the U.S. Constitution. And folks, that should scare us all, because it is not the job of a United States Supreme Court justice to rule according to the way the world is right now. It is their job to uphold the rule of law set forth by the United States Constitution, plain and simple. No questions. There's not one set of laws for the Clintons, and there's not one set of law for us peasants, folks. We're all bound by that same law. Hillary Clinton wants to make people pay their fair share. I heard that crap again last night. I am so sick of hearing that. I'm not a rich person, folks. It doesn't affect me at all. I'm middle class, low middle class when it comes to income. But I am tired of hearing this Saul Alinsky, Karl Marx-based philosophy that we have got to redistribute the wealth of the rich people to the poor people, and that will make the economy run and make America fair to everybody. Folks, it will not make America fair. It will make America bankrupt. We're $20 trillion in debt already. And if you took every dime from every rich people in America, we would not make a dent in that debt. You make the debt go down by balancing your budget, by making small businesses want to come to America, by lowering taxes, increase productivity, and let businesses flow, and then you're going to see a break in that debt, and you're going to see a prosperity of jobs that are coming back to this country. Don't believe this 5.6 unemployment rate. It's not 5.6. It's almost 12 when you get to considering how many people have just quit looking for work. But again, that's all Democrat spin, folks. That's all Democrat spin. But that is the choice that we're facing in November. And last night, I think, the first debate, I think Trump held his own, but he was nervous. It was evident that he was not comfortable in that first debate. It was evident. And on style and points, Hillary, I think, pretty much beat him. But last night was different. I saw a man last night that had learned a lot from that first debate. He came ready to fire, and he did not miss many bullets at all. And I hate to use that analogy because somebody out there say, oh, you're saying he's... No. I'm talking metaphorically. He did not miss many talking points, and he did not miss many things and many opportunities to call her on the carpet for her record, for her dishonesty, for her corruption, and he dealt with the Clinton. One great line too, and again, I'm trying to quit, but I can't. But another thing he brought up, and see again, the media never asked her this. She's bragged to people. She's told people, well, me and Bill were broke when we got out of the White House. Folks, they're multimillionaires now. How in the hell did you go from a government service job to being multimillionaires without getting money from somebody? And when you have a foundation that has been linked to dishonesty and the FBI won't even investigate it because of a crooked Justice Department, I mean, it doesn't take a genius to figure out where you got that money. So, you know, those kind of things, folks, are greater in importance than an 11-year-old videotape. But the sick nation that we're in, we're more worried about the vulgarity of Donald Trump's videotape than we are the vulgarity of Hillary Clinton's campaign in her life. And all I got to say tonight is this: if that is what the nation wants, then come November the 8th, that's how the nation's going to vote, and we will drink the bitter waters of that choice as a nation. Trust me, we will. And I just think that no matter what the media says or does at this point, the only poll that matters, and I'll end it tonight on this, the only poll that matters is the one that's going to be taken November the 8th, 2016. I encourage you to vote. I encourage you to get out there. Let your voice be heard, America. I know there's a lot of you that are secretly, or you're still undecided, but you know that this country's in a mess, and you know we need change. Don't let the bravado or the bravado of the media and the lies of the media and the distortions and all of this onslaught, don't let the cowardice of the Republican Party sway your vote. Don't let the self-righteousness of these hypocrites and these Pharisees and these assholes up there that are no more less guilty of stuff that Donald Trump said in that tape than he is. Not one of them are. They're all guilty, folks. Nobody's perfect. If you're going to throw a stone, make damn sure you ain't got something in your life, because, folks, that's the only one that is legitimately able to throw a stone at somebody else. Is somebody that don't have sin in their own life, and none of us don't. Our own governor today in Tennessee disappointed me. He came out, but our governor here in Tennessee is an elitist. He's one of the elite Republicans. He's part of that catch-em-all club in Washington, that country boy club. And, so it didn't really surprise me, but it disappointed me. And, Bill Haslam can have his opinion. And I'll just throw this out for thought. You Tennessee people that are listening to this, you know this. Bill Haslam don't have a lot of clean hands himself. We paid $5 a gallon here in Knoxville for 2 weeks back during a hurricane. I think it was Katrina or one of those hurricanes that hit us in 06, 07. And they had some oil supply issues down. Maybe it was the BP refinery issue back in 06, 07, or 08. Actually, it was 08 or 09. And his Pilot Oil Company got caught price gouging up here. The one he owns with his brother Jimmy, the owner of the Cleveland Browns. So again, I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Bill Haslam or Arnold Schwarzenegger or whoever the blank you are. Don't be throwing stones at Donald Trump, because none of you have got clean hands. None of you. And if you want to be like that, be like that. But I'm going to tell you something. The only voice that's going to matter is this country and the people of this country, not you elitist assholes. And we will see to that come November the 8th. You mark my word. Whew. Got a little fired up there at the end. That's it for a Monday night on a Mac File. Sorry it went a little late. Hope you've enjoyed the discussion. We're going to talk about these emails tomorrow, because there's a lot of stuff in those emails that came out today that's worth talking about. And our prayers tonight go out again to the victims of Hurricane Matthew, their families. Death toll has reached 20. The death toll has reached 1,000 down in the Caribbean islands, folks. This was a monster storm. Tragic loss. 20 died in North Carolina, and 10 died in North Carolina alone, but there's been a total of 20 people here in America that lost their life over the weekend. And we absolutely are saddened to hear that, and we send our prayers to their families tonight. That'll do it for Monday night, October the 10th, 2016. We are just 28 days away from the election here in America between Donald Trump and Hillary Rodham Clinton. All I can tell you, folks, tonight is vote, and vote for change in this nation. We cannot keep going down the path we're going. And that's what I've got to say. God bless, Godspeed, God bless America, And may God be with you tonight. We'll see you tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel, right here on the Mac Files. Have a good night, everybody. Good night.
The government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish.
Of the people, by the people, for the people.
And that government of the people, by the people, and for the people, shall not perish from the earth.